Welcome to Heaven's Kitchen, the northern edition from the beautiful mountains of New Hampshire. Hi, I'm Janelle and I'm so happy you could sneak away with me. I'm going to stay out here and enjoy this beautiful day for a little bit, but then I'm going to meet you back in the kitchen and make something really fantastic. Thanks so much for being with me. Hey, glad to have you back in my Eastman kitchen. I've got a great meal planned for us today. If you like light, healthy, and fresh, this is exactly what you want to make. And if there's someone special in your life you really want to impress, this meal really fits the bill. It uses a technique you may not have seen, but it's going to make you look like a superstar. So I'm going to get us set up. We're going to get started right away. I'll be back in a flash. Let's get cooking. I know the curiosity is killing you and you want to know what we're going to make today. Well, I've decided on a really great fish dish. And I developed this. I had seen it done in restaurants, but I thought it was super complicated, and it's not. And in my house, my husband Tom is usually coming home from the airport. Kayleen is always running off to a rehearsal. And my son Tommy, who's now away at Tufts, has never been my big fish guy. So I've been trying to introduce more light fish dinners. And I found that this worked beautifully because I can get it all set up, pop it into the oven when I know everyone's coming or going. And as I said in my intro, the presentation is terrific. So in order to do this, what it is a white fish baked in parchment. I'm going to add my own touches to it, but it's also a very individual thing. Add what you like. And I'm going to start us with some beautiful asparagus. And I think because I was born in the springtime, I love all vegetables, but I especially love asparagus. What I want to tell you is when you're coming home from the market, keep them standing upright in some water in your fridge. Keep your plastic bag over them, it'll keep them fresh. What you want with asparagus is nice tight tops and nice green color. And I'm going to show you very simply how we're going to get this really quickly cooked. We are going to start by getting a sheet pan ready for our asparagus because we're actually going to roast it. Now, I love asparagus always. A really great way to do it is to steam it initially and then you ice shock it to keep it nice and green. Then you saute it in butter. Fantastic. But I'm an Eastman. I want to get outside. I want to take a walk. So we're going to roast this. I'm going to get it into a sheet pan, stick it into Mary, and forget about it. So you've heard me say this before, parchment. So I'm going to lay this towel down so that my parchment lined sheet pan does not slip all over the place. And as I said, I buy my parchment paper in big individual rolls. Now it's available on rolls similar to wax paper. So if you haven't done it already, please go get yourself some because I use it all the time. So we're going to get Mary preheated. I've talked to a couple of you lately about your ovens and the fact that you have convection but you're a little intimidated by it. Please try it. Experiment with it. Convection does wonderful things, and Mary actually has a convection roast feature, and I use this at home as well in Braintree. Convection roast can do chicken beautifully, makes a nice crispy skin, and it's going to be fantastic for our asparagus. So get it preheated to 425, and let's get going. When you are working with asparagus, there's always going to be a tougher end, and I've also found that there's a variety of opinions about asparagus. I love it all, but several chefs will tell you that, oh, it has to be the real thin kind and the first asparagus of spring. And yet I was watching a world-famous French chef who absolutely loves the big fat ones. These are middle of the road. I love them. I think they're going to be great. So to get them ready, we're just going to take them like this, and you're going to give it a snap. And where that ends up snapping naturally, we'll show you where the tough end is. And you don't want this tough end. It can be a little stringy and chewy. So you can save them for super stock, I'm just going to discard them. We don't need them today. So we're just going to lay these out, and I'm going to snap another one. When you're making this impressive meal for someone special, get them snapped, or if you want, snap one, then take the rest and just lay them on the board. They're going to snap in similar places, but it's fun for me, so I'm going to do them one at a time. So I'm going to get these all laid out, enough to make a meal for one, and then I will be back to show you how we're going to get them all seasoned up to put them into Mary. I have a perfect Janelle size portion for my fish in parchment for one. So I'm going to grab my extra virgin olive oil, and you're going to just gently drizzle it right over your asparagus. And then to season it, I found this. It's a gourmet seasoning that has salt and pepper, onion, garlic, and actually even some carrot flakes. It's perfect for this. But obviously, like I always say, with regard to the convection, with regard to spices, you don't need anything fancy. Do your own garlic powder, onion powder, salt, pepper. I would be a little careful with fresh garlic because it may burn because we're using such a hot oven. So simple is fine. Garlic, onion, a little salt and pepper. And that's all it is. So we are going to put this into Mary. As I told you, with convection, she's at 425 and she'll adjust lower. If you don't have convection, keep it at 425. It's going to be 20 minutes in a regular oven. I'm going to check this out in about 15. And then we'll get started on our fish. Be right back. It's time for the star of our show. I got a beautiful piece of cod. And when I come home from the fish market, I always just like to give it a quick rinse in cold water. And I'm just going to pat it dry with a paper towel. You want a nice, firm, nice white fish. And there is no rule or regulation with this recipe. As I said, this is a nice piece of cod. You could use tilapia. You could use sole. A nice light. The steakier fishes, like a tuna or a sea bass, tend to be a little difficult to time because of their thickness. So the white flaky fishes really are perfect for this technique. So, if you recall, when we made a frittata in this kitchen, I showed you about cleaning a mushroom. Now this is again my personal taste. I am going to layer my parchment fish with a portobello mushroom on the bottom. Then I'll do my fish, and then I'm going to put some citrus and some tomato on the top. I know it's going to be delicious. I usually, for Tom, do it with little creminis. And if you don't know, creminis are baby versions of portobellos. But when I came up to the market, they only had gigantic containers. What was I going to do with all those cremini mushrooms? So I went for the portobello. So let me just slide my beautiful fish over here. Here's our, look at the size of this. This is a half. It was bigger than my hand. So I'm just going to give it a quick wipe, because I think I taught you last time about mushrooms that you don't rinse them. You just give them a wipe and get the dirt off. So let me keep my beautiful piece of fish here so I can use my cutting board to make some beautiful slices of this portobello mushroom. Ooh, that is going to be so good. If you've never tried them, Kayleen and I have been doing a lot of vegetarian. It's a great substitute for meat because they are really hearty and delicious. So while I've got my board, I may as well get my vegetable ready. This is, again, I'm a big fan of Roma tomato. Use whatever kind of tomato you like. And I'm going to make some nice, very thin slices of that as well. Next, I'm going to do some lemon and lime. I think I'll use a different knife for this. Okay, when you have citrus of any kind, just give it a little roll, and it helps get the juices flowing a little bit for you. So, I am going to need some juice from this, but I also want some nice slices. So I'm going to go halfway through. Don't need that label, do I? Okay, make some nice thin lemon slices. I think 2 is going to be plenty. And I'm going to do the same thing with my lime. Nice roll. And give it a cut so that I have 2 halves so that I can get some juice out of them. I'm going to pour the juice right over my fish once we get it assembled. So just a couple of nice thin slices of lime as well. Okay, now let's start the magic. Slide this out of our way. Keep my citrus right here because we're going to use that in a minute. And let's get our fish back. This is where we're going to use a full sheet of parchment. If you have it on the roll, just make sure it's plenty big. I want to guess this is a solid, 24 inches. Depends, of course, on the size of your fish. Now, I have to do this backwards now that I think about it so you can see it. So I'll keep my fold on this side. Okay, what you're going to do is put the fish on one side, and then we're going to fold the parchment over. So let me show you. We're going to start with our mushroom, and again, as I said, when I made this for Tom, I put the fish on the bottom with smaller mushrooms on the top. But because I couldn't get them, I'm using these big, gorgeous portobello slices. So I'm going to lay this right here. I think 3 slices will be nice. Okay, then basically, let me slide this stuff out of the way so you can see it. Basically, I'm making a platform for my fish. So here's my beautiful piece of white cod that I'm going to lay right over that. And I think if I change the angle, I'll have an easier time when I'm rolling it. Then I'm going to take my beautiful tomato and lay that on, and my very extremely paper thin lemon and lime, and I do them in alternating so it looks beautiful. And we're going to season it, and again, garlic powder, onion powder, fresh garlic would work fine with this because it's going to steam, but I love this Sicilian seasoning, so that's what I'm doing. Okay, let us get my reamer and get some nice fresh lime juice on there. Oh, this is going to be fantastic. And some fresh lemon juice on there. Okay, now I would put butter usually. Tom's trying to be careful about those choices, so a healthier choice to butter obviously is olive oil. So we'll give a little drizzle of olive oil. And I have to show you one of my toys. My kids and my husband are so good to me. I have a birthday coming up, and they always give me gift cards to all my favorite culinary stores. So I found these fantastic little things, and this one actually does julienne. Julienne meaning very teeny tiny strips. So I'm going to just garnish this again for color. It's a white fish. Now I've got the pretty green of the lime, the pretty yellow of the lemon, and I'm going to just put some nice julienne strips of carrot because it looks fantastic. So I am going to slide this camera over so you can get a really good look at how this is going to look, and then I'm going to show you how we're going to seal it up so we can get the asparagus out and get this in. Hang in. Well, there is our all dressed up piece of fish, and I'm going to speak to you off camera because it's really important for you to see this technique. So here it is with our beautiful bed of portobello. Our fish that's been seasoned with garlic powder, onion powder, salt, pepper, or my Sicilian seasoning. Nice, small, thin slices of lemon and lime. And again, if you use butter, it's going to create a citrus butter, which is going to be fantastic. I used olive oil just because it's a healthier alternative. So we are going to take the top half of our parchment and say, have a nice rest, fish. Now, Starting from the side edge, you're just gonna kind of fold and fold and fold and fold and fold. I hope you can see this. Okay, what we're doing is making a nice tightly sealed packet. And parchment really holds really well once you give it a good tight press like that. So it ends up looking like this. And I have a beautiful dish right here that I am going to sit it into. And we're going to take that beautiful asparagus out, get this into Mary, and let it bake. And let's see how it turns out. Asparagus is ready. Oh, and it's got a little sizzle going with that olive oil. So let's get that out. Let's get our fish in. We're going to turn our oven down to 375. And we're going to check this in 20 minutes. The star of our show is ready to come out of the oven. Ah, this is so cool. So here you go. Now, you can do whatever you like. This makes a pretty cool presentation. So you can just slide it out on a beautiful plate, and you could serve your vegetables on the side. Now, if you do that, please just remember to caution your guests. This is a steam packet. It's extremely hot. So you've got to be careful when you're serving it table side. I'm going to show you what I do. I took my beautiful roasted asparagus and I laid it out in this beautiful dish. I, very carefully, am going to open mine up. Oh, it looks fantastic. Now, I've worked with this before, so I can just slide it in, but be careful, use a fish spatula. And I'm going to put mine right on my bed of asparagus. And I think it's going to be fantastic. I hope you enjoyed making it. I'm going to relax and enjoy this beautiful meal with a nice glass of Chardonnay. And don't forget, you can take center stage on a future episode of Heaven's Kitchen. Send us a snail mail, send us an email, or if you'd like to review a recipe, if maybe you didn't catch something, you can now check us out on YouTube. Just go to YouTube and search Heaven's Kitchen with Janelle. Talk to you soon. Salute!
Something that you need to know. Hey there. So listen, 'cause I know. Hey there. It's something that you show. Hey there. Hey, you're not a typical magazine thing. Hey there. But something supreme within your beings. Hey, boys can't help but picture you. You see. Hey,
It's been another beautiful New Hampshire weekend. I am so grateful that you came along to join me. And as I always say, until we meet again in Heaven's Kitchen in Braintree, may your kitchen be full of good food, good friends, lots of good fun. Thanks so much for watching. See you soon.
you know that we will be watching you. Hey, you're not a typical magazine thing. Hey there. But something supreme within you.